Today we will discuss about merits and demerits of joint stock company, because in the earlier video we have discussed about the meaning of company and its features. Now we will discuss about the merits and demerits of a joint stock company. What are those merits? First of all, we will discuss the merits, thereafter we will discuss the demerits parts. First is merit. First merit and foremost merit of a company form of organization is the limited liability. That is limited liability. In this, the liability of the members, limited liability. In this, the liability of the members is only up to the unpaid amount on the shares which are held by them. In case of company form of organization, the liability of the members is limited to the amount on the unpaid amount on the shares which are held by them. For example, just imagine, there suppose a particular person A is there. He is having 100 shares of rupees, you can say 10 each. He is having 100 shares of rupees 10 each, on which he has paid rupees 6 per share. Means he has paid 600. He has paid 600. Now 6 per share has been paid, means 4 rupees per share is still left. Now in case the company wants, or if the company suffer losses, then at most only 4 rupees per share, that is 100 into 4. Only 400 can be, you can say, called from the shareholder, from Mr. A, because his liability is limited to the extent of unpaid amount, and this 400 is the unpaid amount, because 600 he has already paid. 400 is the unpaid amount, so only his liability will be limited to the unpaid amount on the shares held by them. So he have 100 shares, and out of that 4 rupees per share is still unpaid, that is total 400 is unpaid. So his liability is only limited, that is limited to the amount of 400, because that is the amount of unpaid amount on the shares. So his liability in case of a company form of organization is limited to the extent of unpaid amount, that is the amount which has not been paid till now. And if he has already paid this amount also, means 1000 total amount if he has paid, then he too will not have any liability at all. Means even if the company suffers unlimited losses, he will not be paying anything extra if he has paid the total amount of 1000. Next we come to the next method, that is transfer of interest. Transfer of interest. Here transfer of interest is equal to transfer of ownership. Transfer of ownership. For example, in case of a company, the owners are the shareholder. Owners are the shareholder. For example, I am having 100 shares of a company, and so I am also one of the owners of the company. And if I have 100 shares of a company, so if I want to transfer the share, means that is if I want to sell the shares, I can easily sell. And this is generally done through stock exchanges. This is the institution, stock exchange is the institution through which shares are bought or sold. So shares can be bought and sold through stock exchanges. Suppose this is known as transfer of interest, means transfer of ownership or title of the share. The shares of the ownership can be transferred in case of a joint stock company. I am having 100 shares, I can sell it anytime. So there is easy transfer of shares is there in case of, first is transfer of share is merit. Actually you can also write easy transfer of interest, or easily these shares can be sold off, or similarly it can be purchased easily also. If somebody wants to purchase my shares also, he can approach me, or generally through stock exchange, both the sellers and the purchaser, they get themselves registered. Both the sellers and the purchaser, through the stock broker, they get themselves registered. Means if they want to sell some of the shares, then they can contact their broker, and through them they can sell the shares. Similarly, if you want to buy the shares, you can also contact your broker, and through stock exchange this purchasing and selling can be easily done. So transfer of interest is very easy. If you want to sell the shares, you can sell it. If you want to buy, you can easily buy it. at whatever price that is prevailing, with the current market price, whatever of the share will be, at that price, you can buy the shares or you can sell the shares. So easy transfer of interest is there, or transfer of shares is easy. Third, perpetual succession, which we have discussed yesterday in the features parts. Perpetual succession, that we have also discussed in the previous video, that is in the features we have discussed. That the features of a company form of organization is perpetual succession, and it is one of the merit also, that even if the members are coming or joining, or if some new members are joining the company, or if some old members are leaving the company, means that the owners are leaving or the shareholders are leaving the company, it does not affect the, you can say, perpetuality. It will continue to exist, means it will continue to exist. It will not have to wind up his business or close the business. Means owner can come, owner can go, but the company will remain as it is. Means there will be perpetual succession or continuity in existence will be there for a company, even if members are leaving the organization, because some members will still be left, and if new members are also coming or joining the organization, then it will not affect the company. You can say the functioning of the company, it will not affect. Now, there is scope for expansion also. Scope for expansion in case of a company is also higher, because as we know, a company can raise capital through issuing shares. The company raises capital through issue of shares. Shares can be issued and the company can raise capital. So easily fund is, you can say, it can easily raise fund, or fund can be made easily available. That is one thing. Means more shares, if the company want more fund, more shares can be issued, but it will be limited to some extent. It is limited because a company can issue shares up to authorized capital, which we will discuss later on. Up to authorized capital, whatever authorized capital is there, up to that limit, the company can issue shares. Authorized capital. The total authorized capital, if the company has issued, so no further shares can be issued. But if the company has not issued all the authorized shares with which it is registered, so it can raise or issue more shares and raise fund also. That is one thing. Moreover, it can also take loan, it can issue debentures, it can take loan from banks also, because in the, you can say, company form of organization, it works on a large scale. So getting fund from banks also, it is easy for the company form of organization. So there is always scope for expansion. Means if you want to expand the company, or the business want to increase the business of the company, and if there is shortage of fund, obviously if you want to increase the business, you will need more fund. So for expansion, fund can be raised easily by issuing shares, by issuing debentures, by taking loan from the bank, because of the benefit the company enjoys in the form of, you can say, the shares. It can issue the shares, it can issue debentures, it can take loan, because since the company is working on a large scale, the banks also easily provide loan to companies, because they also knowing and they lose the reputation, or the, you can say, credibility of the market, credibility of the, you can say, company in the market. Moreover, in case of loan also, the company will be going through the balance sheet of the company, the performance of the company in the previous year. If the performance of the company in the previous years was good, so company can easily take loan also. So there is always scope for expansion in case of company form of organization. Moreover, since in a company form of organization, large numbers of shareholders are there, so contribution of fund from large number of people will make available more fund also. So in this way, there will be always scope for expansion. Now let us, one more is there, the professional management is there in case of a company form of organization. Professional management. The company form of organization is professionally managed. The company form of organization is professionally managed. That is, means for every department, for every specialist function, specialist or means every separate department, specialist or expert for particular department are hired. Because in case of, since the company works on a larger scale, so it can easily pay more salary if right person are there. If the company want to get the right person, they can pay higher salary and get that person easily, because the company is working on a large scale, and paying higher salary is easy for a company. And for every department, every unit of the, you can say, in the organization, if experts or specialists are required, company can easily hire, because they are in a better position to pay higher salary or higher, you can say, remuneration to the experts. So there will be, so the companies are generally managed professionally, because professional people can easily be hired from, by a company. Now let us discuss the demerits here. Demerits in case of a company. Demerits. The demerits in case of a company is, first of all, that is company formation. You can say the formation of a sole proprietorship, partnership, and this joint in the family business. These are very easy. But in case of a company form of organization, the formation is a complex process, which we have discussed in the features also. There it is a complex process. The formation, complex formation, you can say. The formation of a company is a complex process that, moreover, it is very lengthy and time consuming and expensive also. It is very time consuming, expensive, as well as a lengthy process, and too much legal formalities are to be, you can say, carried out, and documents are to be prepared in order to get the company registered. Moreover, when the company is getting registered, that is registration of company is known as incorporation. Incorporation. Once a company get registered, it will get one certificate of incorporation. But in case of a public company, once this certificate of incorporation is got, the company goes for issue of shares. And the issue of shares is that minimum 90% of the shares must be issued, so that the company can, you can say, will have to get one more certificate. For a public company, first of all, at the time of registration, they get the certificate of incorporation. Thereafter, shares are issued, and minimum 90% shares are to be subscribed by the general public. Then only the company will get us one more certificate, that is known as commencement certificate. That is certificate of commencement of business. Unless the company shares, 90% of the shares are sold out, the company will not get the commencement certificate. Means the company cannot start doing business. So it is important that after incorporation, the company will be issuing shares, and when the company issues shares, minimum 90% when it is sold out, then only the company will get certificate of incorporation from the registrar of the company. But if less than 90% shares are sold out, say 85% or 80 or 60%, the company will have to again start the winding up process. Means the company will have to again start the process of closing down. Means the company will be closed down, and the fund, the amount which the company has received from the shareholder, means for the application, share application money, whatever the company has received, that will be refunded, and the company will not get this commencement certificate. It have to close down. Means winding up proceeding will start, and company will come to an end. So it is a complex process. The formation is a complex process. Now next is, there is lack of secrecy is there. In case of a company, as you know, in case of a company, for example, partnership and sole proprietorship, you can say not much legal formalities are there, means secrecy can be maintained easily. But in case of a company form of organization, every time, means after every particular period of time, the balance sheet, you can say the financial statement, is to be submitted to the registrar of the company. These are generally made public also. It is published in the newspaper also. So the secrecy of the company is not maintained. Moreover, the company have to get the account audited also through outsiders. So everything is, you can say, in the eyes of the general public. Secrecy of the company cannot be maintained. So it is one of the demerit, that secrecy of the company cannot be maintained, because every time the company have to submit its, you can say, performance, the report performance, that is the financial statement, to the registrar of the company. If the company want to take loan, it have to submit the financial statement to the banks also. Similarly, it have to get the audited, the account to be audited by the auditor, and this auditor will be some outside parties will be appointed as auditor. Again, it will be, you can say, moreover, sometimes it is published, the financial statement, the performance of the company is published in the newspaper. Again, the secrecy will not be there. Now, these are the, you can say, demerits. There are more demerits which we will discuss. This is true. Now, the next demerit is the, you can say, impersonal work environment. Impersonal work environment. Just now I told you that in a company form of organization, there are large number of shareholders or owner. Owners are very large. Numbers of owners are there. Large numbers of owners are there. And similarly, employees are also large. Employees. Large number of employees. Employees are also large. So there is generally direct contact between the owner, that is the shareholder, you can say. Shareholders are actually called the owner of the company. So there is no direct contact between the shareholder and the employees. There is personal contact with the shareholder and the employee, and the manager and the employee are very, you can say, limited or almost, you can say, sometimes to some extent the relation between the personal contact with the shareholder and employees are almost nil, and there is very less relationship or personal contact with the management, that is the board of directors and the employees also, because large number of employees are all there and few board of directors are there. So few board of directors cannot contact all the you can say large number of employees also. So there is personal contact between the owner and the manager, with the employees is not there. So personal, you can say impersonal working environment is there, and that because of impersonal working environment, the performance or the, you can say, work of the officers are also, you can say, somewhat below standard, or you can say up to not up to expectation. Means they do not generally put their best effort because of impersonal work environment there. Next is, you can say, rules and regulations. Rules and regulations. Rules. Just now I told you there is lack of secrecy. I told you about the lack of secrecy, and it is related with this also, the rules and regulations. Too many rules and regulations are to be followed by a company form of organization. Again, this is again a demerit, that the company have to get its accounts audited, it have to publish in the newspaper, it have to submit the report to the, you can say, the banks also, and it have to carry out various other legal formalities are there. So too many legal formalities or rules and regulations are to be followed by a company form of organization. So it is, you can say, a very difficult task to follow all the rules and regulations in order to run a company. So it is also one of the demerit of running a company, or you can say doing starting a company form of business organization. Next is, there is a delayed decision. Delayed decision. Now, why this decision is delayed? As we have discussed in the previously also in the previous video also, that the company is run by a board of directors. Board of directors, and these are appointed by the shareholders. The company is run by a board of directors, and there are various directors are there. A board is constituted and various board directors are appointed to that board by the shareholders. So this, since number of board of directors will be there and collective decision is to be taken, so there may be some dispute, or you can say differences of opinion can be there between the board of directors, and if there is differences of opinion in the board of directors, so decision will get delayed. Decision will get delayed, and it will hamper the working of the company also. If the board of directors have any differences, so decision will get delayed, and due to delayed decision, the company have to suffer loss, or you can say the company will be adversely affected. Now, there is oligarchic management. It is related to the board of directors. Oligarchic management. It is related to the board of directors speaking. Oligarchy, as we know, company form of organization is run directly by the board of directors and indirectly by the shareholder. Indirectly by the shareholder, because shareholders are the real owner, and these shareholders appoint a board of directors. These shareholders are the real owner, that is owner of the business, or they are also known as owner of the business because they are holding the shares of the company. And these shareholders are spread all over the country, all over the world. They may be spread. Means the shareholder can be, you can say, from different countries, from different states, from different cities they will be. So there are numerous shareholders from number of countries or number of cities or states will be, and they appoint a board of directors to run the company form of organization. Now this board of directors generally these shareholders are spread far and wide, and in order to select the board of directors, appoint the board of directors, a general meeting, annual general meeting is conducted, and since they are, you can say, at very far off places, so attending the general meeting is not easy for all the board of all the shareholders. So in this case, most of the board of directors continue to you can say do the business as usual, and in this way only a few board of directors run the management of the company. Only in place of all the shareholders, a selected individual, few selected individuals will be running the, you can say, these board of directors. These are individuals, few board of directors will be there. They will be running the management of the company. That is why it is known as oligarchic management. This is the management of the company is oligarchic. That is, few people will be managing the business. Although there are number of owners are there, but the representative or the shareholders are the board of directors, and they run the management of the company. And since even if the company is not performing well, that means the board of directors are not doing their duty properly, the shareholders have almost nothing, they can do nothing, because it is not easy for them to attend the, you can say, annual general meeting, and they cannot, you can say, take part in the voting of the board of director or appointment of the board of director. And in this way, ultimately, if the shareholders feel unhappy with the working of the board of director, they simply leave the organization by selling their shares to some other person through the stock exchange. So the oligarchy management continue to exist because few board of directors continue to run the business of the company as usual. So this is all about the merits and demerits of joint stock company form of organization.